even taking care of his own wife, so she turned around and started teaching the brothers. So it's kind of like a whole big mosh-potch of different stuff going on, but they know who we are. And that's how basically how they was able to take over from us, through sex. So, that's when we kind of fell. It became abusive, and I know we were talking about it earlier, how they used that as a tool, to kind of use it against us to kind of keep us thinking on the red chakra, survival chakra, sex and survival and, whatnot. Because you can't go to your higher chakras because, you're stuck on the red chakra or, the chakra that deals with your genital organs. And also in America, a lot of these big plantations, like in South Carolina, North Carolina, some of those big homes and stuff, a lot of those were ours. And the butler was the original, he was the original owner. But at gunpoint, they told him, this is my house now.
What?
So Malcolm X made a joke about this is my house. He said that the house nigga was like, you burning our house? It really was his house.
Damn.
Really his house. And all the slaves were actually indentured servants or workers for his plantation. They basically moved in and put our clothes on, at gunpoint with the religion and with liquor and had us start worship. Because really the Bible is a book about science and mathematics, law, art, science, and mathematics.
Yes.
It's just a business plan. But they done told us how to read it and what to read and what not to read. And that's why, part of what I teach is the original Meta-Netter and original Hebrew and stuff. They kind of go back to those stories and kind of review those books. I know everybody got one. Whether you believe it or you don't believe it, everybody got one. Just have to kind of go back in and kind of look at it from a different perspective than the way we've been taught during slavery. Like you said, if we knew the Constitution, we know you can set up a church under law separate from their state. Because remember, it was the states who enslaved us. It wasn't the federal government. It was the states. So now you go back to the state. Because I turned down somebody had paid for me to go to ITC. I turned it down. I had a chance to go to Yeshiva to be a rabbi. I turned it down. I did go through some training when I was in the nation, but I preferred to do the secretarial and economic stuff.
Why did you turn it down?
Well, at the time, when I was, I've been to Israel. I was taught. My mother basically, as a youth, kind of basically taught me and trained me on how to be a rebbe. As a child. That's why there's a difference between a rabbi and a rebbe. I'm a rebbe. A rebbe is like
What's the difference?
Teacher. He's a teacher in the streets, and he'll teach you all the high sciences of Kabbalah. The geometria, which is dealing with the numerical and the scientific values of each letter and that kind of stuff. Where a rabbi, he goes to yeshiva, he gets all these PhDs and all these degrees, and he only teaches a select few. It's kind of like when we was growing up with the 5%ers. The 5%ers say, that we teach and train anybody. We're poor righteous teachers of the planet Earth, teach, freedom, justice, and equality, to all the human families of the planet Earth. We teach them science, law, arts, mathematics. So a lot of times these ministers, instead of setting up an economic plan, like when Katrina happened, I have a video on YouTube called The World's Best Kept Lessons. We was by it was a community center by Boulevard. I can't remember the exact name from it. It was across the street, I think, from Burger King. And we were going there like every Sunday. I was going there like every Sunday. I was kind of doing it through live. I said, I'm going to go. I was doing like a science history class. Because you got to involve science in it. You can't just have like history without science and laws and stuff like that. So right after Katrina hit, I was like, dang, it caught the so-called African-American Negro with their pants down. I expected to go down there, see, because their whole drive is, like you said, is to do credit repair, is, like you said, it's not no real, I forgot, what was the word you used? Credit repair and, not faith-based, prosperity religion.
Yeah. They won't talk about history.
Jesus had 12 disciples to set up those same 12 cabinets that I mentioned earlier. He had a Department of Defense. That was Peter. Peter cut you up. Jesus was with some hooligans. He was with some hardcore, some thugs. People think he was looked like a hippie. He was some soft shoe dude. Nah, you got the wrong picture. You need to read read what it really says. And I always say with people, that if you go to a new job, right, and they say, okay, I got 3 tasks for you. The first task, what I need you to do is to do all this filing, file these records. Second task, I want you to take out the mail. Third task, answer the phone. You cannot go to the second and third task until you do the first task. Am I right? That's job. So when Jesus came, he said, seek ye first, not second, third, or last, the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things should be added. So my thing is with the ministers is like, when are you going to set up an economic program where you have your own security force, you have your own school, you have your own factory that makes shoes and clothes, You know what I'm saying? You have your own health clinic. You know, you have your own restaurant for food. We have our own farms and supermarkets. All that stuff you said earlier about other people coming over here and stuff like that, they know we don't have that. We are the biggest consumers. We don't make nothing. We don't make a damn thing. We don't make nothing. But yet we're the best creators in the universe. We create all the music they listen to. We create the styles that they wear. You know what I'm saying? We create the inventions, all this high-tech stuff. All this stuff comes out of our minds. But we don't get compensated for none of it. So, of course, they'll give an athlete or entertainer $20 million for 3 years. But the contract says, and this is going back to Moore's Law and stuff like that, do not, I know it says it, that do not go back and try to build no schools or nothing like that. Because that happened to P. Diddy. When P. Diddy first had a factory building, I think he was making suits or making sweatsuits in Dominican Republic. He tried to build a factory in New York. You know, they slapped him in the hand and said, don't even try it. You remember he had to do that? I think they had him run some marathon or something. You know, they kind of, fudged it over. But they were like, do not set up no factories in America. When I first moved to Atlanta 10 years ago, I realized under the Georgia stop and Martin Luther King stop on the east-west line on MARTA, they had all those factories. They're turning all those into lofts now. Those used to be factories. I mean, stuff like tissue paper, underarm deodorant, you know, cologne, you know, towels, washcloths, you know, toothbrushes, soap, you know, basic stuff that we need. You know, how hard is it to make a pair of pants, a shirt, a suit, a dress, a skirt, some socks, some drawers? You know, we invented Victoria's Secret. You know, the see-through with the lace. We did all that stuff. All that stuff is, everything they do comes out of our brain and our mind. But we don't get compensated for it because we don't have, probably one is confidence, but we only been out of slavery since 1985, 430 years, it says in Exodus, I think it's 1249 or somewhere around there. It hasn't been that long, but the New World Order is us. Once we get a hold of this knowledge, the world's best kept secret, the knowledge of yourself, and like we were talking about yesterday, if you're not sure in what direction you should go into, study your zodiac. You can be shown improvement in the Bible, can show improvement with the Jesus 12 disciples. You know, like I said, the president has major 12 cabinet members. The number 12 is 12 moons. You know, the number 12 is a power number, you know, 3, you know, which is understanding, which is the best part. Of course, 1 and 2 is, you know, 1 is knowledge and 2 is wisdom. Knowledge is like book knowledge and information. Wisdom is to start acting upon that what you talk about. You know, so, you know, it's our time now. I mean, you know, everybody else had their shot. You know, Caucasian, he had his shot. You know, Chinese are rolling now. You know, Hispanics is kind of siding with them. You know what I mean? The Indians from India coming over here. Hey, I'm like, line them up. All right, you'll have your shot to rule the world. You'll see what. That's why it's a mess now. That's why they put Obama in. Now we're at the bottom of the barrel. The only thing that's going to turn these economies around all over the planet Earth is when we wake up and say, okay, we need to, like a fishing rod, we need to reel ourselves back in, pull ourselves closer together. You know, we need to start bothering each other. If I fix your car, maybe you can, you know, give me some clothes. You know what I'm saying? If you give me a meal, you know, maybe I can tutor your kids. You know, we got to take the whole credit and the fake money thing out of the picture in a way. I mean, I know we can't do it now. Everybody has to work each and every day. But you need to think on the side, what can I do on the side as a service or as a product? You know, we got to get our minds out of the gutter. You know, sex, and drugs. Look, man, this America is going down. The world is going down. And we the only ones that can save it. It's been foretold in the Book of the Dead, in the Bible. See, Egypt and Sumeria and all those great civilizations always said their gods came from the west, meaning Atlantis. We're, you know what I'm saying? We are that. That's what Africa said. Well, you came from me. I was like, well, what do you mean by that? If you mean by the word Afro, meaning the soil, the DNA, well, we all came from the same seed. Okay, if you're talking about we came from your civilization, well, guess what? We built the pyramids over there. We went over there, built pyramids in Egypt, built ziggurats in Sumeria, built, you know, the temples in India, in China, Japan. The reason I know why, because you can't build them today. Everybody on the planet was colonialized. We were enslaved. Our minds was wiped clean. They did not take away they took away our language. You know what I'm saying? They took away our culture. You still speak your language. You still have your religion. Everybody on the planet has all of that. But the pyramids is the most high. They had a scientist go over there and do some knowledge on the pyramids, like saying, yo, this has like 0.000 imperfections. It's a perfect building. They can't even come close. Right? What's it called? It's called tolerance. When I used to do construction, my father, when I was real young, you know, what they call tolerance level, like you have a certain amount. If you paint a room, you know you can make a little bit of mistakes, but you have a certain percentage of mistakes that you can make. The pyramid has 0 mistakes.
0, wow.